Shadowing strengthens speaking fluency by helping you mimic natural English rhythm, tone, and pronunciation. And this happens through a process that trains both your brain and your mouth at the same time. When you listen to a native speaker and immediately repeat what they say, you are exposing yourself to real, authentic English patterns that you cannot learn from books alone. Instead of learning pronunciation in isolation, you experience how words blend together, how sentences rise and fall, and how emotions shape the sound of every phrase. This constant exposure allows you to internalize the musical quality of English, which is one of the biggest differences between speaking like a learner and sounding more natural. As you shadow, your brain begins to predict sounds before they appear, helping you react faster and speak with more ease. This improves your fluency because speaking no longer feels like a step-by-step process of thinking, translating, and then talking. Instead, your mind starts to respond automatically, just like it does in your native language. The more you repeat the rhythm of English, the more natural it becomes, until eventually you can produce smooth speech without hesitation. This process rewires the brain to think in phrases rather than individual words, making your speaking flow more effortlessly. Another important benefit of shadowing is the improvement in tone and emotion. English is a language where tone plays a major role in meaning, attitude, and clarity. When you copy a speaker's tone, you begin to understand how different intonations can express confidence, surprise, politeness, excitement, or seriousness. Over time, you develop an instinct for choosing the right tone in different situations. This helps your communication become not only correct, but also expressive and engaging. People will find it easier to understand you and more enjoyable to talk to you. Shadowing also sharpens your pronunciation by forcing your mouth muscles to adapt to new sounds. Many learners struggle with English not because they do not know the words, but because their mouth is not trained to produce certain sounds quickly and accurately. By repeating after a native speaker, your lips, tongue, and jaw gradually become more flexible and responsive. You start to speak more clearly, reduce your accent naturally, and gain the confidence to speak louder and more confidently in conversations. Overall, shadowing is a powerful method because it trains listening, speaking, pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence all at once, creating a complete learning experience that accelerates fluency like no other technique. Reading out loud improves clarity, confidence, and vocal control, making spoken English feel more natural because it forces you to actively use the language instead of keeping it silently in your mind. When learners only read in their heads, they might understand the words, but they do not train their mouth to form the sounds or their voice to express meaning. Reading aloud changes this completely. It requires you to shape every sound, stretch every vowel, and link words together in a continuous flow. This physical practice helps you become more aware of how English actually feels when spoken, which is something silent reading can never give you. By hearing your own voice, you begin to notice patterns, strengths, and weaknesses that help you adjust and improve. As you continue reading out loud, your clarity improves naturally because you learn to pronounce words more carefully and correctly. Many learners struggle with unclear speech because they are not used to saying English words regularly. Reading aloud gives you repeated exposure to common and difficult words, allowing your tongue and lips to become more familiar with their shapes. Over time, you start to sound more confident and accurate, even when speaking spontaneously. This is because you have already trained your mouth to handle a variety of sounds and combinations. The more you read, the more your pronunciation sharpens, allowing listeners to understand you easily. Another powerful benefit is the boost in confidence. Speaking aloud, even when you're alone, reduces the fear of hearing your own voice in English. At first, many learners feel shy or awkward because English does not feel comfortable yet. But as you practice daily, your voice becomes steady, smooth, and strong. You begin to trust your ability to speak. This growing confidence carries over into real-life conversations, presentations, and interactions. When your voice feels familiar to you, you no longer hesitate or hide behind silence. Instead, you speak with more assurance and express your thoughts more freely. Reading aloud also improves vocal control, helping you manage speed, volume, and expression. English is not just about saying words, it is about how you say them. When you practice reading with different emotions and tones, you develop better control over your voice. You learn when to slow down for clarity, when to emphasize certain words for meaning, and how to vary your tone to sound more natural. This vocal training creates a smooth, expressive style that makes your English more engaging and pleasant to listen to through regular practice. Reading aloud becomes one of the most effective ways to strengthen your speaking skills. From the inside out, asterisk listening and speaking at the same time trains the brain to process English faster and reduces hesitation because it forces you to work in real time without pausing to translate or overthink. When you shadow a speaker, you must listen carefully to the sounds, rhythm, and structure of each sentence and immediately repeat them. This creates a constant flow of input turning into output within seconds, which pushes your brain to operate at a much higher speed than normal study methods. Instead of breaking language into small pieces, your mind begins to recognize patterns, chunks, and expressions as single units, allowing you to respond more quickly. This rapid processing greatly reduces the time spent mentally translating from your native language and helps you think directly in English, which is the foundation of fluency. This simultaneous action strengthens your listening skills because you become more attentive to details such as stress, intonation, linking, and natural pauses. When you are shadowing, you cannot afford to ignore any sound because you need to immediately reproduce it. As a result, your ears become sharper and more sensitive to the way English is spoken in real life. You start to understand native speakers better, even when they speak fast or use connected speech. This boost in listening ability makes conversations smoother and reduces misunderstandings, which in turn makes speaking feel less stressful and more automatic. At the same time, your speaking becomes quicker and more responsive because your mouth is constantly practicing the movements needed for fluent speech. You are not just repeating words, you are training your muscles to react faster and more naturally. Each time you speak instantly after hearing the audio, you push your mouth to coordinate with your brain at a faster pace. Over time, this coordination becomes smoother and you begin to speak without long pauses or searching for words. This automatic response is a key part of sounding fluent and confident. By reducing hesitation, simultaneous listening and speaking build a strong sense of rhythm and flow in your speech. You no longer get stuck on small mistakes or pauses because your brain is already trained to keep moving forward with the next sentence. This momentum makes your speaking sound more natural, continuous, and expressive. Instead of stopping to think, you speak as if the language is already inside you. Through consistent practice, this habit becomes permanent, allowing you to communicate more smoothly and enjoy conversations without fear or delay. Shadowing helps build muscle memory for difficult words and phrases through constant repetition, because it trains your mouth to move in a natural and automatic way. Many English learners understand vocabulary in their minds but struggle to say the words smoothly when speaking. This happens because the muscles of the mouth, your tongue, lips, jaw, and even your breathing are not yet familiar with the movements required to produce English sounds. When you repeatedly shadow phrases, these muscles begin to learn the exact position and timing needed for each sound. Just like athletes train their bodies to move with precision, shadowing trains your speaking muscles until the actions become effortless. As you continue practicing, difficult words that once felt uncomfortable start to feel easy and natural. Your mouth no longer hesitates or gets stuck because it has already practiced the movement many times. This physical familiarity creates automatic response patterns, meaning you can say the words quickly without thinking too hard about them. The more you shadow, the stronger this muscle memory becomes, reducing the mental effort required for speaking. Over time, your pronunciation improves not because you are consciously trying to fix it, but because your mouth has learned the correct shape and flow through repetition. Muscle memory also helps you speak more smoothly in longer sentences. Many learners pause or break their sentences awkwardly because they are unsure how to connect words naturally. Shadowing teaches your mouth how to glide through connected speech, where words blend together rather than being pronounced separately. This creates a more fluent and native-like rhythm. When your muscles are trained to handle these transitions, you spend less time thinking about individual sounds and more time expressing your thoughts clearly and confidently. Another important benefit is the reduction of fear and nervousness when speaking. When your muscles know what to do automatically, your confidence increases because you trust your ability to produce the correct sounds. Even in fast or spontaneous conversations, your mouth remembers how to form familiar words and phrases. This eliminates hesitation and helps you respond more quickly. Instead of worrying about pronunciation, you focus on communication, which makes you sound more natural and relaxed. Through regular shadowing, your brain and mouth work together to create strong, reliable muscle memory that supports every part of your speaking ability. This transformation happens gradually, but once it becomes part of your routine, difficult sounds no longer feel challenging and speaking English becomes a smoother, more automatic experience. Consistent daily practice develops smooth, expressive speech and reduces fear of speaking in front of others because it turns English from something unfamiliar into something comfortable and natural. When you use a skill every day, your brain becomes more confident in handling it. Speaking English is no different. Many learners feel nervous because they only practice occasionally. So every time they speak, it feels like starting from zero. But when you speak daily, even for a short time, the language stays active in your mind. Your mouth remembers the sounds, your ears recognize the rhythm, and your brain becomes faster at forming sentences. This regular exposure removes the pressure that usually comes from long breaks and helps you build steady fluency. Daily practice also allows you to develop a natural flow. At first, your speech may feel slow or forced, but each day you repeat words, phrases, and sentences, your fluency gradually increases. Shadowing helps you adopt the smoothness and musical rhythm of native speakers. When you practice consistently, your voice becomes clearer, your pronunciation becomes more accurate, and your sentences begin to connect more naturally. This fluency does not appear suddenly. It grows quietly with every repeated session. Over time, you begin to notice that you can speak longer without stopping. Your thoughts come faster, and your speech sounds more relaxed and expressive. Another powerful effect of daily practice is the improvement in emotional confidence. Many people fear speaking English not because they lack knowledge, but because they lack practice. They feel uncertain about how they will sound, whether people will understand them, or if they will make mistakes. When you practice every day, you become familiar with your own voice in English. You learn how to control it, how to correct small errors, and how to express emotions more naturally. This familiarity removes the fear of embarrassment because you already know how you sound. Speaking becomes something normal, not something frightening. Consistency also strengthens your courage to speak in front of others. When you know you practice daily, you feel prepared. You trust your ability to communicate even if you are nervous. This confidence reflects in your tone, posture, and overall presence. People notice when someone speaks with self-assurance, and this makes your communication more powerful and effective. With each day of practice, your fear decreases, your fluency increases, and your voice grows stronger, helping you step into conversations with greater ease and confidence. Shadowing is one of the fastest ways to train your mouth, mind, and ears to work together, boosting overall English fluency because it combines multiple skills into one powerful exercise. instead of practicing listening, speaking, and pronunciation separately. Shadowing forces all three to operate at the same time. Your ears listen to the sounds. Your brain processes the words and rhythm, and your mouth immediately copies the speaker. This multitasking approach builds a strong connection between what you hear, what you understand, and what you say. When these three skills begin to work in harmony, your fluency improves at a much faster speed because you are training English as a whole system. Rather than as separate parts. As you repeat this process each day, your brain becomes much quicker at recognizing patterns and structures in the language. You stop focusing on individual words and start understanding complete ideas. This shift is extremely important for fluency because fluent speakers think in chunks, not single words. Shadowing helps you develop this habit naturally. The more you shadow native speakers, the more your mind becomes used to English sentence flow, natural linking, emotional tone, and real conversational patterns. Eventually, you start using these patterns automatically without having to think about them consciously. At the same time, your mouth becomes more flexible and responsive. Many learners struggle to speak smoothly because their mouth is not fully trained to handle English sounds. But when you shadow, you train your muscles to move quickly and accurately. This reduces mispronunciation and increases clarity. Your voice begins to sound more natural, and you feel more comfortable speaking for longer periods. Since your mouth is already used to the movements, you don't get stuck or hesitate as much as before. This builds confidence and makes speaking feel easier and more enjoyable. Shadowing also strengthens your listening skills in a powerful way. Because you must repeat the audio instantly, you naturally learn to pay attention to small details such as stress, rhythm, and the way words blend together. These tiny elements are what makes someone sound fluent. When your ears understand them, your speaking automatically becomes more native-like. You begin to anticipate what comes next, respond more quickly, and express yourself with smoother flow. Through this combined training of mind, ears, and mouth, shadowing builds a fluency that feels natural, confident, and effortless, turning you into a stronger speaker with every practice session. And when all these skills finally connect, you discover that speaking English becomes not just easier but truly enjoyable.